The Smeeta Kavat is the most popular and most used Kavat, with a good reason. It has the ability to buff your critical chance and to double drops and affinity gains. In this video I will go over how to get the Smeeta Kavat, what it does and how to build it so it doesn't die every 30 seconds. To breed Kavats, you will first need a Kavat incubator upgrade segment. The blueprint can be obtained through the Dojo's Tenno Lab research or as a drop from Hieka Masters. You will need to be Mastery rank 5 before you can craft it. It requires 10 Kavat genetic codes, 1 argon crystal, and 120,000 alloy plates, so it's a significant investment for newer players. You could also buy it from the market for 175 platinum, but I wouldn't recommend it. You will need another 10 Kavat genetic codes to incubate a Kavat. You can get them by scanning wild Kavats in Deimos Orokin derelict maps. The wild Kavats in the plains of Eidolon don't drop Kavat genetic codes. There are people who have developed efficient ways of farming these, and I'm not one of them. If you just need the codes for 1 or 2 Kavats, it's faster to farm prime parts or Rivens and sell them, and then buy the codes from the market for 5 platinum per piece. The people who farm codes regularly are Kavat breeders, and you might be able to find some who are willing to help you farm. To breed your Kavat, you will need the genetic codes and 1 incubator power core. The blueprint for power cores can be purchased from the market. Each core requires 4,500 nanospores, 2 control modules and 1 argon crystals, and 100,000 credits to craft. The random incubation has a 50% chance to give you a Smeeta Kavat, otherwise you will get an Adarza Kavat. The appearance of the Kavat will also be random. If you want to guarantee that you will get a Smeeta, you will need to use 2 genetic imprints of Smeeta Kavats. These can be traded with other players and they usually aren't too expensive on Warframe.market. The incubation takes 48 hours. If you have the Nutrio Incubator upgrade segment installed, this time will be reduced to 24 hours. Once your pet is done cooking, you will need to mature it for combat. Then you will be able to equip it in your arsenal. The Smeeta Kavat comes with 2 precepts or built-in mods, Mischief and Charm. Mischief lets your Kavat become invisible for 9 seconds with a 7-second cooldown, while a decoy draws fire. The Smeeta can attack while cloaked and remain cloaked. As long as the decoy is active, the Smeeta Kavat is invisible and invulnerable. The decoy has 50% of your Kavat's health. This mod can be very useful to ensure your Kavat's survivability. Charm is the reason why the Smeeta Kavat is used. Every 27 seconds, it grants a 28% chance for a random buff. When the buff first activates, the icon will appear in the top right corner of the screen, along with the name of the buff. The buff is randomly chosen from the following 6. The first one is the critical chance buff, which sets critical hit chance to 200%, making all attacks orange crits for 30 seconds. This also affects some Warframe powers. This is very useful for status or low crit weapons, but detrimental to builds that rely on red crits. The second possible buff is Energy Refund. All energy expenditure from Warframe abilities is refunded for 10 seconds. The third one is doubled pickups and affinity, which doubles any pickups collected and affinity earned for 120 seconds. This is the main reason why people use the Smeeta Kavat when farming resources. The fourth one is instant reload, which has no duration and grants 1 instant reload. The fifth one is reinforced shields, which negates damage from the next incoming hit and awards 150 overshields. And the last one is rare resource, which will create 1 instance of the current planet's rare resources for its owner. Along with doubled pickups, this helps with resource farming. Moving on to builds. Instead of showing you one optimal build, I prefer to give guidelines that will allow you to make one that works for your loadouts. Mandatory mods are Charm, Fetch, and Animal Instinct for utility, Link Health, which will significantly increase your Kavat's health, Tech Assault to help with survivability, and Tech Enhance, which increases the duration of the buffs. Medipet Kit will grant health regeneration and increase bleed out time, giving you more time to revive your companion if it does die. Pack Leader will let you heal your companion by using your melee weapon. I recommend using either one or both of these mods if you don't have other ways of healing. If you don't have Tech Assault, Mischief is also very effective at keeping the Smeeta alive. If you are using Hildrin, use Link Shields. Otherwise, having more shields isn't recommended for higher levels, since less shields means that shield gating triggers more often. Likewise, if you are using a frame or build with a lot of armor, like Nidus or Inaros, Link Armor will be highly effective. Sharpened Claws is a Kavat exclusive mod that lets the companion strip armor. Some people like using it. I find other ways of armor stripping more effective. Other attack mods are not recommended since you don't actually want your Kavat to attack. Staying out of the battle will let it survive for longer. There really isn't a way to make the Smeeta deal a significant amount of damage to steel path enemies, especially in comparison to the damage that you can deal with your frame and weapons, so I always suggest to build for survivability. If you're going on long solo high-level runs, the Kavat will still die every now and then. The issue is with the companions' general survivability. They don't have some of the essential survivability mods, like adaptation and rolling guard. They don't have arcanes that help with survivability. And they don't have a sense of self-preservation, so they will run into groups of enemies and get themselves killed. The best you can do in these cases is to make sure you crowd control the enemies effectively or dispose of them efficiently. Or take a Volpaphyla. The Smeeta Kavat does require significant effort to acquire, but it is definitely worth the trouble. It will help you with resource grinding, and the critical chance buff allows for some interesting builds for low crit weapons, though I would still suggest not overusing it.